You're watching the first episode of Season 3 for Tornado Facts with Beanrock124. My name is Nathan, and I talk about tornadoes all the time. Now, to start, we are starting with the new millennium of 2000. As you know, the last episode was about the Salt Lake City tornado outbreak of August 11, 1999. And that was the last significant tornado outbreak that happened in 1999 that I wanted to cover. So now we are starting with the new millennium for Season 3. So, during the evening hours of March 28, 2000, powerful F3 tornado struck downtown Fort Worth, Texas, causing significant damage to numerous buildings and skyscrapers, as well as 2 deaths. The tornado was part of a much larger severe weather outbreak that caused widespread storms across Texas and Oklahoma in late March, spurred primarily by the moist and unstable atmospheric environment over the south central United States, as well as a result of an eastward moving upper-level low and shortwave trough. The tornado outbreak was well forecast by both computer forecast models and the National Weather Service, though the eventual focal point for the severe weather in North Texas only came into focus on March 28 as the conditions favorable for tornadic activity quickly took hold. Now, the F3 Fort Worth tornado initially began as a weak tornado in River Oaks, gradually strengthening as it tracked southeastward and then eastward into Fort Worth Central Business District. The twister damaged 266 homes across its 4-mile and 250-yard path, out of which 28 were destroyed. Damage surveys indicated that much of the tornado's destruction was due to structural deficiencies in many of the older subdivisions impacted by the tornado. Various high-rise and low-rise buildings in downtown Fort Worth sustained various degrees of structural damage, including numerous broken windows. 9 other tornadoes occurred across North Texas on March 28, although most were relatively inconsequential. Another strong F3 tornado struck portions of Arlington, including Arlington Municipal Airport. Aside from the 2 deaths caused by the tornado, a 3rd person was killed in North Fort Worth by baseball-sized hail. So here's damage from the tornado. As you can see, damaged skyscrapers here, and I believe some of these ones over there as well. Meteorological synopsis, I do not feel like reading that, but I will. Early on March 28, an upper-level low tracked eastward into the southern United States along with its associated shortwave trough, sending the subtropical jet through Texas and bringing along with it strong west-northwesterly winds in the upper levels of the troposphere. Concurrently, a cold front extended zonally across the Great Plains before eventually stalling near the Red River Valley between Texas and Oklahoma, and providing additional focus area for storm development. Favorable conditions for severe weather were expected ahead of an upper-level low over areas of North Texas. Accordingly, the Storm Prediction Center issued a moderate risk for severe weather, just like the day I'm recording this. As you can see, let me refresh this here. Moderate risk of severe weather right there. As of right now, 4 tornado reports have been reported as I'm recording this. Moderate risk of severe weather for the region on March 28, citing an unstable atmosphere caused by steep lapse rates of 7.5 to 8 degrees Celsius per kilometer and high Cape values. The environment was expected to be conducive for the development of supercells as the warped subtropical jet produced strong wind shear over Texas. Later that day, a low-level pressure area developed west of Wichita Falls at the intersection of a dry line that extended southward across central Texas and the stationary front, which extended eastward across the Red River Valley. With the low-pressure system now in place, the air mass over the Red River Valley became increasingly unstable, featuring surface temperatures near 90 degrees Fahrenheit and high dew points caused by the northerly surge of moisture induced by a subtropical jet. The combination of high temperatures and a moist atmosphere resulted in a favorable environment for thunderstorm development. However, despite the heat, temperatures alone were insufficient in breaking the capping inversion, an area of warmer air aloft that prevents the relatively cooler air near the surface from rising. Instead, the approaching shortwave trough provided the impetus necessary to force convection to occur, allowing the formation of showers and thunderstorms. Now, initially, computer models indicated that the day's storms would primarily feature strong winds and hail with a minimal risk for tornadoes, with severe weather occurring mainly north of the stalled front in Oklahoma. However, conditions improved further than expected leading the National Weather Service Forecast Office in Fort Worth to intensify its verbiage in its public forecasting products as the day progressed and highlighting areas around the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex as potential risk areas for tornadoes. Thunderstorms began to develop earnestly along the dry line as the afternoon progressed, beginning with initial storm development northeast of Abilene. The strong southwesterly winds aloft from the curved subtropical jet over the region helped to ventilate storms, allowing for their presence and intensity. The Storm Prediction Center issued its first of 2 tornado watches for the day, for the event at 2:53 p.m. for portions of southern Oklahoma and north central Texas. The most favorable environment for tornadoes was initially over the Red River Valley, but shifted southward to include the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex in the evening hours. As storms continued to develop along a dry line, or along a line paralleling I-35, some storms congealed into a mesoscale convective system near the Metroplex. This cluster of storms produced both F3 tornadoes in Fort Worth and Arlington. The complex of the storms eventually evolved into a transient bow echo that continued to track eastward into Louisiana. Elsewhere, supercells continued to propagate eastward across north and south central Texas along dry lines, slowly weakening after sunset. Now, 10 tornadoes touched down during the outbreak. None unrated, 7 F0, 1 F1, no F2, 2 F3, and fortunately no F4, F5 for a total of 10 tornadoes. And here are all of your tornadoes right here. They all occurred in Texas. Here's the Fort Worth one, and here's the Arlington one. Both of these were F3. Now, I'm only going to read... Oh, boy. Okay, I'll read the entire Arlington one, but maybe I'll read the entire Fort Worth one. I said I wouldn't read the meteorological synopsis, but I ended up doing it. The thunderstorms that would eventually produce the infamous F3 tornado in Fort Worth developed from a cluster of storms that quickly formed west of the city. At 4:38 p.m., a severe thunderstorm warning was issued on the quickly organizing storm for Parker County. And about an hour later, another severe thunderstorm warning was issued, this time for Tarrant County, as the storm continued to track eastward. Radar imagery showed the supercell was rapidly organizing, developing a bounded weak echo region and a hook echo radar signatures that hint a strong and potentially tornadic thunderstorm in less than half an hour. Radar also indicated a broad mesocyclone had developed by around 6 p.m. and extended vertically through the entirety of the supercell. At around the same time, a wall cloud was spotted in association with the rotating thunderstorm, while baseball-sized hail fell ahead of the rotation in northern Fort Worth along I-820. Winds from the downdraft of another small thunderstorm south of Fort Worth allowed the strengthening supercell to organize further. At 6:10 p.m., a tornado warning was issued for Tarrant County, and accordingly, emergency sirens were activated in the Fort Worth area a minute later. The tornado touched down at 6:18 p.m. near the Castleberry High School, northwest of downtown Fort Worth. Initially, the tornado lacked a condensation funnel and could only be visually identified as dust swirls near the ground beneath the rotating wall cloud aloft. The tornado maintained this appearance for the first 5 minutes of its lifespan, after which a condensation funnel developed eventually. I am becoming dyslexic, am I? The first signs of damage occurred in the River Oaks area along Highway 183, where metal roof panels were stripped off of a vacant fast food restaurant. After crossing the highway, the tornado inflicted sporadic F0 damage to an older residential area, breaking tree branches and causing some damage to outbuildings. A few chimneys were toppled over at homes. At this time, the tornado's damage path was only a few hundred feet wide. A roof of a home near Robert's Cut-Off Road, yeah, Robert has been cut off by the tornado, was partially removed, signifying the first instance of F1 damage. Several large and rotted trees were uprooted by the tornado's strong winds as it moved through the area. The tornado then passed directly over the Castleberry High School, causing significant damage to the school's field house. Tornadic debris, including rooftop air conditioning units, gravel, and other detached construction, was thrown by the tornado at the school's western facade, causing minor damage. Throughout River Oak, 3 homes sustained major damage, while 51 others experienced minor damage. The tornado then crossed the Trinity River and dealt F1 or greater damage to over 100 homes in the adjacent subdivision. Some roofs sustained partial roof loss, and many large trees either lost limbs or were toppled. At the intersection of West 6th Street and University Avenue, the tornado abruptly turned east from its initial southeast heading, bringing it over the Linwood subdivision at around 6:22 p.m. The homes in the neighborhood were mostly small wooden frame structures on pier or beam foundations, making them highly vulnerable to the tornadic winds and resulting in widespread structure failure. A survey conducted by the Wind Damage and Engineering Program at Texas Tech later concluded that many of the buildings suffered total structure failure did so due to structural deficiencies rather than strong winds associated with the tornado. The tornado then passed over a Montgomery Ward distribution center. Montgomery Ward's, it used to be a store, almost like a Sears, causing roof damage to the complex and overturning numerous parked trucks. One person was killed while trying to reach a shelter after a truck fell on them. Gee. Another person was killed after being struck by a collapsing brick wall. Okay, I think that's worse. Together, these two fatalities represented the only deaths associated with the tornado and the outbreak overall. Several nearby metal buildings were toppled before the tornado once again crossed the Trinity River, entering Fort Worth Central Business District. The second tornado emergency ever issued was declared by the National Weather Service for the city of Fort Worth. The tornado struck several skyscrapers as it moved across downtown Fort Worth over the course of approximately a minute between 6:25 and 6:26 p.m. The first high-rise building impacted was the 9-story Cash America building, which was nearly destroyed by the tornado. All windows on the building's northwestern and southwestern faces were blown up by the strong winds, and the travertine stone facade framing the building's exterior crumbled. While a number of interior partition walls and suspended ceilings collapsed, the building's steel frame remained intact. That would have been bad. The tornado also peeled some of the brick masonry off the dome and 5-story prayer tower of a nearby Baptist church. The tornado was at its peak strength when it struck the 10-story Malik Tower, causing the building to lose most of its glass exterior. High-speed debris thrown up by the tornado broke windows in adjacent low-rise office and condominium buildings. Similar damage occurred to several other high-rises, including 35-story Bank 1 Tower, which lost 80% of its 3,000 windows. Wow. The Union Pacific Resources Building lost 1,300 of its 5,000 windows. The tornado eventually dissipated at 6:28 p.m. near I-35 West after having spent 10 minutes on the ground over a 4-mile and 250-yard path. Across Fort Worth, 212 homes were damaged, of which 28 were destroyed. Although the tornado dissipated just east of downtown Fort Worth, the parent supercell continued to cause damage, albeit minor and sporadic, to roofs, trees, fences, and billboards roughly 3 miles near I-30 and Brentwood Stair Road. Now, I said I wouldn't read all that, but guess what? I just did, so deal with it. After the Fort Worth tornado dissipated, another thunderstorm developed over Johnson County, tracking northeastward into Tarrant County, and eventually merging with the supercell that had produced the tornado earlier. The new development prompted the reissuance of a tornado warning for Tarrant County at 6:40 p.m. At 7:05, the tornado touched down on South Cooper Street, causing initial damage to a restaurant. This would be the Arlington F3. The tornado's touchdown coincided with the appearance of a TVS, tornado vortex signature, on radar imagery. Well-built homes within a residential area along Embercrest Drive sustained widespread damage, with some houses experiencing up to F3 rated damage. Such damage occurred after garage doors failed, allowing tornadic winds to unroof homes and push out exterior walls. That happened during the December 10 tornado outbreak in Kentucky, I believe. As a consequence, homes that faced the tornadic wind sustained more damage than homes whose attached garages were sheltered from the strong winds. After crossing Matlock Road, the tornado did additional damage. It did additional damage to 1- and 2-story homes in another subdivision, producing F3 damage. Many homes suffered the collapse of brick masonry walls due to poor construction, as they were not properly anchored to the home's frames. The tornado then swept across the northern portions of the Arlington Municipal Airport, dealing F2 damage before briefly paralleling I-20. At 7:12 p.m., the tornado crossed the interstate, overturning at least one 18-wheeler. The tornado continued to track northeast, causing F2 damage to a subdivision near northeast of Grand Prairie Municipal Airport in Dallas County before dissipating at 7:20 p.m. And that is it for this edition of Nathan's Weather Show. Wow! What have I been doing? This is not Nathan's Weather Show. I mean, it's kind of part of it, but no, it's not Nathan's Weather Show. This has been Tornado Facts with Beanrock124, Season 3, Episode 1. What a funny way to start the season, and we got 20 more of these episodes, so let's see how we can do that. And, yeah, funny way to end this video, but whatever. Goodbye.